Welcome back to another episode of... Everyone seemed to enjoy the first part of this, and I didn't really think I was going to make a second one, but seeing how much everyone enjoyed the first part, I decided, well, why the hell not? So I did a little bit more reminiscing, a little bit more research on odd things that kind of scared me when I was little, just weird pieces of media, random bits of media, some a bit creepy, others just relatively not scary at all, but regardless, all of them scared the absolute shit out of me when I was a young child. Made a little playlist here of certain videos of media that are on the internet that for some odd reason scared me when I was just a little wee lad. So without further ado, let's go over them. The first thing we have here that I picked out, and I surprisingly, I don't even know why I actually didn't include it in the first video, because I feel like this was a no-brainer, but I guess it just completely slipped my mind. It is the THX sound effect that plays at the beginning of certain movies, and I remember this specifically hearing it for the first time when I was watching the movie Cars, I believe. It kind of speaks for itself, or maybe it doesn't at all. Some people would understand it, some people wouldn't. It's actually a pretty common fear, a thing that people were like afraid of when they were younger, and actually some people are still afraid of it to this day in adulthood. Which is kind of odd to me, but in a way, like, I get it. I don't judge what people are afraid of. But here it is. It's loud as fuck, though. Yeah, so that was the whole fucking thing. That was it right there. So, this sound scared me when I was little. This sound. It's just a sound. That's all it is. You know, I would go ahead and say that, like, oh, I have no idea why the hell this scared me when I was little. I was a dumb child. I have no idea why. But hindsight 2020, which is what I'm going to try to do for most of these videos if I can, to kind of like dig deep down on what maybe subconsciously scared my younger self. And I believe that it is the slow escalation of this constant sound that has no stop, and all it does is rise. And also, if you listen very closely, there's a bunch of different sounds all at once. And so I think with me, it was some sort of like a sensory overload type thing. My parents did think that I was autistic when I was younger, and I have Asperger's, so they're not 100% wrong. But you know, that might be some sort of link there. But also keep in mind that yes, a lot of people are actually afraid of this, or at least used to be, and some still are to this day. I also think with the slow escalation and it finally reaches its climax, it just kind of stays there, and instead of going back down, it fades away, which is just kind of uneasy for me. I believe that's what it was. Speaking of which, so I'm actually going to show you a quick video from this YouTuber Sven Johnson, who actually nailed this in the head quite well. So you know, shout out to this guy. He obviously doesn't need it. He's a lot bigger than me, but I just want to show my appreciation to this video, because it was this video, when I watched this video, I realized, wow, this really wasn't just me. How they portray it is amazing and fucking hilarious as well, might I add.
Let's think of a jingle.
How
Here.
they
We've been here
invented
for
the
hours.
THX sound.
THX logo, beginning of the movie. We gotta have an idea.
Here's something I've been working on. What do you think?
I don't know. That's kind of it. What about you?
And that would have been so much better.
Something maybe like this.
That as well.
No, I'm not feeling that one.
How about something like this?
All of these are much better than the
I don't know.
THX sound.
Do we have anything
All of
new?
these examples.
Wait, what? I like that.
You guys recording this?
And that's how it went. This is exactly how it happened.
Okay, this is it. And then we have this. Small children are gonna love this.
Notice what Gus said at the very end. Small children are gonna love this. And right he was. Well, wrong he was. I'm actually gonna look for my... Oh, look, there it is! Holy shit. Okay. I commented this. I'm not on my regular account here, but as you can see here, I commented here. He even hearted my comment, got 3.2 thousand likes, and I just quoted, small children are going to love this, couldn't be more accurate, which is 100% true. 100% true. It's amazing. I feel so special that I was noticed, and I commented this 2 years ago, so this, I got the notification, I watched it, and this is what I said, and I got second top comment. Pretty proud of myself for that one. Okay, so the next one is another episode of SpongeBob, which I did include a bit from an episode on SpongeBob in my last video. I believe it was the one in Sandy's Tree Dome. And there's actually, I'm going to be featuring 2 moments from SpongeBob episodes in this video here. This was from the episode called Wormy, I believed, and I'm just going to let it play. Okay, and we don't need to watch the rest of it because that's pretty much the extent of it. Because the thing that scared me was, obviously, I'm sure people could guess, the up-close shot of a butterfly. Now, right off the jump, I believe that I could pretty much articulate why this scared me. I think that it's because, and of course I wouldn't know this, at the time, my young 6-year-old self, or however old I was, but I think that subconsciously in my little mind, to me, a butterfly is such an innocent creature, which is true, it really is. Very pretty, very delicate, all it does is fly around, doesn't bite, doesn't sting, doesn't do shit to you. It's a good creature, and I don't like bugs, but butterflies I can get behind. But I think just seeing the up close visual of what a butterfly is, like truly what it looks like up close, was just very unnerving to me because I guess I kind of thought that they just looked a bit more pleasant than like your typical bug, I guess. And so just seeing it's like seeing something so innocent look like that was very triggering for me. At least that's what I think. Of course, that wasn't going through my mind at the time. I was just like, ah! But that's what I think. 8 seconds in, that's all I needed to show. But the video, it pretty much. Oh, look, see, there's another one here. Right. So this was a thing. I would close my eyes whenever this would show up, or just fucking run out of the room, whatever. Okay, so the other episode of SpongeBob that scared me was from the episode Hooky, I believe it's called. I'm not entirely sure. It was very hard for me to actually find the clip that I was thinking about in my head, and the only clip that exists on YouTube, to my knowledge, is it's dubbed in Japanese or Chinese, whatever. I think Japanese. Just keep in mind, SpongeBob dubbed in Japanese is one of the funniest things in the world, but I've watched this video several times, so I'm a little bit more immune to it now. So just kind of try to ignore that. I know it's going to be practically impossible, but just bear with me on this.
Weißt du auch, was mit dir passiert, wenn du nicht ganz langsam wieder runtersinkst?
Souvenirshop.
Schlimmer! Dann endest du vakuumverpackt in einer
Packt.
Thunfischdose. Und das Einzige, was du noch wahrnimmst, ist der Geruch von Mayonnaise.
That was it. So this one, if I had to make a guess on what little me was subconsciously terrified of, it would be the quick shots of the can of tuna, like randomly just placed in this weird background, and then that like little girl or little kid, whatever, screaming. I believe it was maybe unnerving to me because it was so sudden and quick, unexpected, random, and just a kid like screaming without like actually seeing the kid scream. It's just a scream with no person screaming. I think I found that pretty unnerving. But I think also part of me thought was that this was like a real thing, and obviously now I get it. It's like fish humor. It's like, oh no, I don't want to be caught by a fisherman on a fishing with a hook and get made to be sold in a can of tuna or whatever. I don't know what the hell mayonnaise has to do with it. I didn't know fish was in mayonnaise, quite frankly. I don't eat mayonnaise. I don't like it, so I guess I wouldn't know. Maybe there is. Educate me. But I think part of me might have been afraid of just that whole concept. Maybe part of me thought that was going to happen, or probably not thought it was going to happen, but just thought of the idea, and just that concept was just kind of scary to me. And so that's basically what it was. This was one of the scarier SpongeBob episodes that I know of, and this is the last SpongeBob episode featured in this video. But believe it or not, if I did some more digging, did some more reminiscing, watched the whole SpongeBob show, I'd probably find another one that I'd remember, like, oh yeah, this one scared me too. But that's the last SpongeBob episode for this video. So this next one is kind of weird because it's like an actual horror movie, like a scene from like a real horror movie called Poltergeist. And I watched this movie at the very young age of like 4 or 5, somewhere in that area. I don't exactly know why, looking back, why my parents actually thought that that was a good idea to do. or to let me do. But I remember I was in my mom's office where she works and still currently works. And on the computer, I would oftentimes watch stuff like Netflix and YouTube and stuff. And I remember being on Netflix and I saw like the thing for Poltergeist, and it was a picture of this little girl. I don't know her name. It's been years since I've actually seen this movie, believe it or not, as the horror enthusiast I am. She had her hands on that TV that had the grainy thing. You know what I'm talking about. But I asked to watch it because I was curious as to like, oh my god, what the hell is this? This is so weird. From what I remember, it didn't take a whole lot of convincing for my parents to let me watch it just because of my pure curiosity. And it might be also because I have siblings that are a lot older than me, and this is 1982, and I believe that like they probably grew up watching this, at least some of them did, and so to my parents it didn't really seem like a huge idea. Or a huge deal. Idea. I actually think that it was this that actually turned on my brain to horror. Of course, it kind of happened more gradually, but I think this is kind of the start of what turned me into the horror enthusiast that I am. And if you've like watched this channel, like if you're an avid watcher of this channel, you would know that I'm a pretty big horror guy. I got a pretty big extensive collection of horror DVDs. But believe it or not, I have not seen this movie in a while. So here it is. This is the scene that I remember specifically, and so being how I didn't see this movie for several years, I can't really remember any other scenes besides a couple little ones, but this was the main one that I remember truly stuck out to me. The pool with the skeletons. You know, and it kind of speaks for itself why a 5-year-old would be afraid of this, but I just wanted to include this because this was, in fact, childhood trauma for me. This was the scariest shit I've ever seen. It was no good. And yet, I couldn't keep my eyes away. I would also refuse to watch this unless my mom was in the room with me, might I add. I don't know why it's so hard for her to climb out of the pool, though. I mean, it's a horror movie. It's gotta be, I suppose. Yeah. And so that's it for that one. Pretty much goes without saying, but yeah, I watched this when I was probably way too young to be watching this, but I'm also thankful for it because I believe that it's kind of what opened my mind to the amazing world of horror as just the genre as a whole. So that's going to be it for today's video. I do not have my microphone anymore because it is the next day and it has died and I need to get an outro really quick. So if anyone wants to see a part 3, I don't know if I could promise that because I don't exactly know how many other things in my childhood that I remember actually scared me. At least not physical, or at least not like media or videos. I mean, if I talk to my parents, I'm sure they'd tell me that I was afraid of urinals that would flush, you know, in public, especially the automatic ones. But apart from that, I really don't know. So I'm going to have to do some more reminiscing and research and whatnot to be able to find that out. But if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my content. That's going to be just about it. See ya.